tell me please, what is a countable noun?
A countable noun is when we can make a list or enumerate things.
Okay, when we can
Or we
count,
can count the things. Yes.
we can count the objects or the things. Yes, the nouns. Okay, and uncountable are the one that we can't count, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Today we are going to check what is the difference between countable and uncountable nouns. I want you to take notes because at the end of the presentation, I will ask you some questions. Okay? So let's start. What is the difference between countable and uncountable? Okay, so here we have the countables. The difference is that in countable nouns, we have a singular form and a plural form. For example, we can say a tree and we can say 2 trees, 3 trees. We can count, we can have singular and plural. Okay, this is one of the difference. Take notes. Then we have in countable nouns, we can use a singular verb and we can use also a plural verb. For example, the book is old. The books are old. Okay, so these are the characteristics that we have for countable nouns. Let's talk about the uncountable nouns. Uncountable nouns have only one form, singular form. It doesn't have a plural form. So we say butter, mantequilla, butter. We don't say butters. Okay, so only one form, singular form. Then we have these uncountable nouns always use singular verbs. Okay, for example, sugar is sweet. We cannot say sugar are sweet. Okay, so singular verb for uncountable nouns. In these uncountable nouns, we cannot say a, an, or a number before the uncountable nouns. For example, we cannot say a rice or a bread or 2 rice or 2 bread. Okay, so we say rice, bread, or sugar. Okay, but we cannot use these articles or numbers before the uncountable noun. Okay, so let's check if you understood. Let's go with Diego. Tell me, please, what is a countable noun?
Countable
Yes.
can use a singular verb or a plural verb.
Okay. Yes, for countable nouns, we can use singular and plural verbs. What else, Hugo? What can you tell me about countable nouns?
For example, when we say a singular thing, we use the letter A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just the letter A?
I think there's more forms, but I actually remember A.
For example, if I say a car, I can say a apple.
Okay. No, because when the next word or the noun starts with
Vowel.
and a vowel, we must use N
Okay, yes, we can use
instead of
a
A.
or
Instead of A.
an before the noun, the countable nouns. And also we can use
Yes.
numbers before the countable nouns, okay? Yes. Mabel, what can you tell me about countable nouns? Your partner said they use a singular and a plural verb. They They use a or an or a number before the countable noun. What else can you tell me?
Well, we use the countable nouns when we talk about that one or two or three, four uncountable things, maybe.
Yes, very good. Yes, we can have a singular countable noun and then we have plural countable nouns. We can say a house or 10 houses, right? Okay. What about uncountable nouns? Uncountable nouns. Mariela, please tell me. Uncountable nouns. What can you tell me about this?
I don't listen, teacher.
Why? ¿Y a quién le estoy
My mic.
explicando si usted no escucha? ¿A quién le estoy explicando?
Es que mi micrófono estaba mal en mi computadora.
Let's go with Flores. Tell me, please. What can you tell me about uncountable nouns?
Have only one form.
Which one?
Butter. Butter. Mantequilla, quiero decir. No es contable.
Butter is countable.
No. No.
Yes. Sorry. Yes, you are right. It's uncountable. It's uncountable. But yes, what is the form that the uncountable nouns use? What is the form? You said it has only one form. Which one? What form? Anybody? What is the form?
We use a singular verb form after an uncountable noun.
Yes, the singular form. We use the singular form for uncountable nouns. We don't use plurals, okay? And we use singular verbs. Okay, good. So let's see here. Okay, so here we have some uncountable nouns. Uncountable nouns are often abstract ideas. It's something that we can't touch. Okay? For example, love, education, freedom, beauty, these are abstract ideas because we cannot touch them. Okay? So these are uncountable nouns. Then we have things that are made of smaller parts. Okay, for example, sugar, rice, all these things are made of smaller parts. Okay, todas estas cosas están hechas de pequeños granos, ¿cierto? Entonces, por eso son incontables. Some food are uncountable. Some food is uncountable too. For example, bread, fish, the food that we need to cut in small parts, okay? Then we have liquids and gases también. These are uncountable nouns. Water, milk, wine, all these liquids. Materials too, for example, wood, glass, paper, all the materials are uncountable. And there are some words that in Spanish are countable and in English are uncountable. For example, news, noticia. Nosotros tenemos en español noticia, noticias, right? But in English, it's just news, uncountable, only one word, okay? Advice, consejo, consejo y consejos. Pero en inglés solo es advice, no podemos decir advices, okay? So these are some uncountable nouns. Let's see here. When do we use some and any? What do you think about this? When do we use some and when do we use any? Any ideas?
We use
We
some
use-
when We talk about things, and we use any when we talk about persons.
Persons, people,
Yes.
people, right? No, no, exactly. We can use some to talk about people too, and we can use any to talk about people. Any other idea?
Uncountable nouns.
Some I use when an answer on any question.
Okay, yes, you are closer. Any, we use any for questions, and some for sentences.
We usually use some in a positive sentence.
Yes, in an affirmative sentence, right? We use some in affirmative sentences and any in negative sentences. Okay, pay attention to this. Take notes because after the presentation, I'll ask you some questions, okay? Let's see, when do we use some? You know that for countable nouns that are singular, we use a or an, right? As your partner said before, Hugo, we use a when the word starts with a consonant, and we use an when the word starts with a vowel, right? For example, there is a bottle on the table, or there is an apple on the table. These are for singular countable nouns. Let's talk about plural countable nouns. What do we use? We use some. We use some for plural countable nouns. We use any for plural countable nouns. We use some for uncountable nouns. And we use any for uncountable nouns too. Okay, so some and any we can use for both countable and uncountable. But be careful. We need to use a plural countable nouns with some and any. Okay, let's see here. We use some for affirmative sentences, as your partner said before. Affirmative sentences. For example, there is some cheese in the fridge. Cheese is countable or uncountable? What do you think? Countable or
Uncountable.
Uncountable.
uncountable, right?
Uncountable.
Uncountable. Very good. Tell me a sentence, please. An affirmative sentence with some and a plural countable noun. Plural countable noun. Give me an example. Sentence, affirmative sentence with some and plural countable noun. Claudia, tell me please.
Excuse me, teacher.
An example of a sentence, an affirmative sentence using some and using a plural countable noun.
Uncountable or countable?
Plural
Countable.
countable noun.
I have some pets.
Okay, I have some pets. Yes, pets is countable. Okay, thank you. What about you, Andres? Give me a sentence, an affirmative sentence with some and a plural countable noun.
Okay, teacher. Uncountable.
Countable, plural countable.
There are plural countable. There are some candies on the table.
Okay. Okay, could be. In some grammar exercises, they use candy as uncountable. Candy as uncountable. Okay, but maybe we can change. There are some
Candies is uncountable.
flakes. ¿Cómo?
And candies is uncountable.
Uncountable?
The uncountable.
But I asked you to give me a sentence with a countable noun, plural countable.
Oh, sorry, teacher. Okay, yeah. And there is, no, sorry. There are three apples here on the table.
There are
It's
some
countable.
apples on the table. Okay,
No.
some because we are
Oh,
talking about some, right?
okay.
Let's talk about the
Yo
negative
tampoco.
sentences, okay? So we use any for negative sentences and we use any for questions too, okay? So for example, there isn't any cheese in the fridge. There aren't any cheese. Is there any cheese in the fridge? Okay, so I want you to give me an example with a plural countable noun, negative sentence using any. Plural countable noun, a negative sentence using any. Aide, please. Aide, are you here?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, what is your sentence? Aide, you are
No,
lost.
teacher.
No que. Carla Toro,
No le
please.
entiendo.
You can use the nouns that you have here in your book. Here you have a lot of nouns. So you have to tell me if they are countable or uncountable and make a sentence with these nouns. So, please, your example, negative sentence with any with a plural countable noun.
Okay.
Anybody, please? Can you give me an example?
There isn't any park near my house.
There isn't any parks near my house. Remember that we always use plural countable nouns. Okay, very good. What about questions? Okay, give me a question using any and a plural countable noun. Diego.
Is there any pet in the house?
Plural countable noun. What is the plural of pet?
Pets.
Pets. So, what is your question?
Is there any pets in the house?
Okay. We use is for plural. Do we use is for
No.
plural? So, what is your question?
Are there any pets in the house?
Very good. Are there any pets in the house? Okay, very good. Thank you. We have some exceptions, okay, with some, okay. We can use some in questions when we are offering something. For example, when we have a guest at home, cuando tenemos un invitado en la casa, en nuestra casa y le estamos ofreciendo algo, podemos utilizar some en la pregunta para ofrecer algo. Por ejemplo, would you like some tea? Would you like some cake? Would you like some water? Ok, entonces podemos utilizar some cuando estamos ofreciendo algo para invitar. Ok. También podemos utilizar some en la pregunta cuando estamos pidiendo algo. Ok, por ejemplo, can I have some water? ¿Me puedes invitar agua? Can I have some water? Can I have some milk? Ok. Y también cuando vamos a sugerir algo. Why don't we eat some pizza? Okay. So in these three situations, we can use some in a question. Espero que estén anotando. In these three situations, we can use some in a question. Okay? To offer something, to ask for something, and to suggest something. Okay? These three situations. Okay? So, let's see. Here we have the grammar panel in your book, and we are going to complete this, okay? It says, countable nouns have a plural and a singular form. For example, we can say a station or we can say stations, an animal or animals. We can use a singular form of the countable nouns. We can use an or an with the singular form of the countable nouns. Then we have the uncountable nouns. It says, uncountable nouns only have one form, okay? A singular form. For example, traffic, music. We cannot say musics, okay? Because it's uncountable. We can't use our and before or with uncountable nouns. We use the singular verb for the singular verb form after an uncountable noun. Okay, for example, the traffic is terrible. Sunlight makes you feel better. Okay, los demás verbos los utilizamos como si fueran para tercera persona. Recuerden que para she, he or it siempre añadimos una es o s al verbo, ¿cierto? Entonces no olviden utilizar el verbo como para singular, para la tercera persona y para singular. Okay? We use some and any with uncountable nouns and plural countable nouns. Okay? We usually use in positive sentences. ¿Qué utilizamos en positive sentences? Some, right? Okay. For example, what can we say here?
There is some robots.
No podemos decir there is some robots, porque is es para singular y robots es plural.
There are some.
There are some robots. No, aquí no podemos decir there are. Some robots will do your housework. Okay, some robots will do your housework. Good. Let's see here. We usually use in questions. ¿Qué utilizamos en preguntas? What do we use in questions?
Any.
Any, right? Do you have
Any prediction for the future?
predictions for the future? Very good. And number 4, we usually use with not. ¿Qué utilizamos?
Any.
Not.
Any.
Okay, not any. Have the same meaning as no. For example, there isn't
any traffic. There's
any
no traffic.
Yes, very good. Any traffic. There is no traffic. También podemos hacerlo de esta forma. There isn't any or there's no. Okay? Good. Let's practice a little bit this. Let's go to page 104.